Hello, Gold participants from around the world. I'm Fleur Bickford, Program Director and MC for Gold Learning. I'm chatting today with Kate White about her upcoming presentation titled Best Practices in Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Somatic Health for Optimal Birth Outcomes. Kate's presentation will be available as part of our Infant Mental Health add-on package. So Kate, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. We are excited to have you with us. And to start with, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and your professional journey.
Well, I am a somatic practitioner that's body-based. I'm a massage and craniosacral therapist, and I've been doing this a long time. I'm about 25 years now into being a somatic practitioner. And the way I got into it was I was a new craniosacral therapist. And for your listeners and delegates who don't know what that is, it's a very subtle form of body work where you are able to feel rhythms in the body. And part of the intake that I do is looking at birth experience. We're able to feel early experiences, especially in the cranium for head down babies and for breech babies. So it was in the context of being a new craniosacral therapist that I had a client remember her birth on my table. And I had no idea that that could happen. So I went on a journey to learn more about how that could happen. It just captivated me and has ignited such passion in me that now, many, many years later, I've been to many trainings and many teachers and read many books and am now the Director of Education helping to educate others about this early period.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And so interesting about what it was that drove you to find out more. I do find it really interesting, and it's something I had an experience with as I was working with moms and babies as a lactation consultant. I started to learn about craniosacral therapy, and I started taking my children for various issues, and I watched both of my children go through the birth process. It was really, really clear as they were being worked on, the positions that they put themselves into. I was watching them and going, they are going through their birth.
Exactly.
It was fascinating to watch. So really, really interesting. So I'm hoping you can tell us a little bit more about somatic health and what that really means for our delegates who aren't familiar with the term. It's not a common term. So I'm hoping you can just tell us a little bit more about what that means.
Yes, I know somatic is hard for people to grasp. It's like the word embodiment. Like, what is that? It's how we are in our bodies. It's body-based is kind of the way we talk about it. It's the felt sense of being. It's using sensation and how we are in our bodies in time and space. But it's hard to encapsulate that in one word. So somatic is the closest that we can get, but it really means how we are in our bodies and who we are in our bodies, because we're not just our intellect and our cognitive mind and our ideas. Our health, our lives, our whole body, we're embodied. It registers in our bodies. It's our lived experience, our relationships, our history, all of our experiences. They come in as sensation. We're not just a thought or a mind. We're also a body, and we're also a spirit inside our body. And these are all things that we talk about at APA.
Okay, so interesting. And I think it's such a fascinating thing to think about and talk about, because I think that there's often kind of a disconnect between mind and body, and a lot of people don't really pay a lot of attention to that, and that what's going on in our head has a big impact on our body and vice versa.
Well, when you think about how we get started, right, as a baby on the inside of our mothers, we're growing our body. Our mothers are our first home on the inside, and we don't have this neocortex. We don't have these ideas or ways to communicate language. We have our movements, our gestures. They all mean something, our nonverbal lives. And we're still that way today. as adults, as children, but we have this small period of time where so much happens. When you look at the way the nervous system grows and all the experiences that we have from being just a twinkle in our mother's eye or our father's eye to now where, all our brain synapses, the quickest, most expansive growth is that first 3 years. So here we are, right? We still have all those neurons. We have these felt sense in our body of being alive, but it came from, this one egg, this one sperm, this conceptus, and then it grew and it had all these experiences. We had all these experiences in our mothers being born, being that first toddler from baby to toddler, and then language comes on. And then we have even more experiences. And so now we're seeing a real growth in somatic work. It's coming online quicker than you can think. It's starting with some basic practices like yoga, and I'll be talking about these in my I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'll be talking about these in my presentation for you.
Oh, well, that's fantastic, and we are really looking forward to the presentation. It sounds fascinating. So, just as a final question, what do you hope the delegates will take away from your presentation?
Well, our mission at APA is to talk about the baby's experience. So I would love for your delegates to really get that babies have big experiences in utero during birth and the first year of life. And they tell us about it. They communicate that. And so if your delegates could really take in that babies are telling us about their experiences from the very beginning, and that they can set up themselves or their friends, their family, their clients, their patients to have these optimal experiences, what a different world we might have.
Okay, thank you so much, Kate. Appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today. And for our delegates who are listening, again, you will be able to learn more from Kate with her presentation titled Best Practices in Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Somatic Health for Optimal Birth Outcomes as part of the Infant Mental Health Add-on Package for Gold Perinatal 2016. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good day.